Welcome back to the Journey of an ARC student. In week 6, Angelina elevates her research from promising sources to battle-tested proof. Last week, Angelina built her annotated bibliography, a catalog of promising sources forming her evidence locker. This week, she pressure tests that foundation through due diligence analysis, ensuring every key claim rests on solid rock, not sand. A professional analyst doesn't just collect evidence, they validate it against bias, cross-check critical facts, and anticipate attacks from skeptical reviewers. A single unverified data point can collapse multi-million-dollar deals. Angelina learns that in high-stakes finance and law, credibility demands relentless rigor, not blind trust in sources. Let's take a look at the core components, starting with analyst skepticism. Every source carries perspective. Let's dissect each one. Who's the author? What's their motive? What language signals bias? And what's conspicuously absent? Bias isn't disqualifying. Unseen bias is the real danger. Second, the triangulation method. Never bet a killer fact on one source. Verify critical data across independent outlets. Third, the counterclaim deep dive. Let's fortify arguments by thinking like your toughest critic. First, build the CEW claim. Second, spot the strongest objection. Third, acknowledge it fairly. And 4, refute it with superior evidence. This wins debates before they even start. Now that Angelina understands what's at stake and has seen how a single unchecked data point can cost millions, she's ready to put this mindset into action. It's not enough to agree that bias exists or that facts need verification. She has to feel what it's like to interrogate her own evidence under pressure. That's where this week's workshop comes in. In today's session, Angelina takes her carefully built evidence locker from last week and stress tests it in real time. Let's take a look at some of the highlights from the lesson.
Here. Okay, so this is what you should do in future before you start any work, official work, that's it, where you want to provide transparency on what exactly you have done with AI, okay? So we open a new chat like what you've done right now, and then the first prompt would be, tell Kimi to provide a chronological prompt log starting with this prompt when you ask for it later. Okay, so this is the actual proper prompting already. Okay, so this is what we're going to keep a record of already going forward. So then the next step is I want you to upload the document where you have the topic of the chapter, the research question that you previously created, and then ask Kimi to review and come back for more instructions. Okay, next I want you to upload your annotated bibliography, and then same thing, ask him to review and come back for more instructions. Okay, good. Okay, the next thing I want you to do is now, did you put your claims into a document, or did you just copy and paste the last time?
I have it in a document.
Okay, good. Upload that document as well now. And then what you do is you say, these are my core claims for the research question. Please provide the evidence extracted directly from the annotated bibliography without hallucination or inference unless highlighted. Okay, so these are all the claims as well as the evidence for you, Angelina, so that later when you're writing, you can actually support every single claim that you have. Okay, so this is the first step. As you can see, what we're actually doing right now is we're actually extracting real evidence, right, to support every single claim that you've made. And it's not speculative, and there'll be no hallucination, right? So you won't have a problem later with quoting something that actually don't exist. And how you did it was by first making sure that you have the annotated bibliography that has been confirmed and checked by you. Then you start extracting information, but you need to make sure you add that sentence which I taught you just now, which is that there must be no extrapolation, no hallucination, and no inference unless it's being highlighted to you. Because now that you have the claims, you actually have the evidence. Now you need to deal with the warrant, right? So what you do is now you say, for the purposes of creating CEWs, and then you put in brackets claim evidence warrant. Please provide the warrant based on the evidence, and if there are more than one, provide all the warrants for me to decide to accept. Okay, that's it. So now what you've done is this. So you notice something, right? And this is where it's very powerful. You notice that even though you have a claim and you have the evidence to support your claim, the warrant can sometimes come from multiple angles, right? So it's not necessarily that it's always only one angle, right? And this is where you get AI to provide you with the breadth, of the possible perspectives that you can look at the same claim and against the same evidence, and then you get to decide which warrant you want to choose. Okay. Now, when you're choosing the warrants, you're actually fully entitled to decide whether you only want to choose one or choose more than one or choose all the possible warrants, because that is going to help you then decide how you're going to write your report or your research paper, right, against every single claim. So what you've done now here again is that you're actually using AI as a tool, not to help you do the writing. That's what you were afraid of at the very beginning, right? Because it's not actually helping you to learn. But here you're actually really learning something, because AI is actually providing you with many perspectives, right? And actually using AI as a brainstorming agent, as a tool, and so there'll be no plagiarism, basically, if that's what your concern is, right, initially.
Now that Julian has underscored the importance of using AI as a thinking partner, a brainstorming ally rather than a ghostwriter, we shift to the next step in Angelina's process. She begins pulling together all of her CEW blocks into a single coherent response, creating the scaffold for her paper. This consolidation marks the moment where her research stops living in fragments and starts to take shape as a unified argument she can confidently begin drafting from.
Consolidate all 34 CEWs, right, into one response, so that you can proceed to the writing of the paper. So if it's completed, then what we can do, Angelina, if you're not sure what is required of you, why don't we do this? Ask Kimi to provide a sample of how it would write CEW1 on the basis that I would like to accept all 4 warrants.
Now that Kimmy has provided Angelina with a sample of her CEW1 block, Julian runs her through the red team pressure test, a consultancy tactic where you ruthlessly attack your own argument as if you were a hostile skeptic, exposing weaknesses before they get weaponized by critics.
Is you tell Kimmy, please do a red team pressure test on CEW, on the new CEW1. Okay, so I mean, obviously from here onwards you can decide whether A- is good enough for you, but if you want you can keep on improving on it. But otherwise, to me, if you get anything that is above a B plus or above, I think that's good enough. Okay, so essentially what you do then is that you will look at this, and then you will basically copy and paste it onto your document, and then you slowly build your CEWs from 1 to 34. Okay, and then what you do is that once you have all the CEWs in a satisfactory form, okay, then what will happen is that next week we'll come together and then put all the CEWs together, and we start to form the documents, the ultimate research report for you. Okay, so that's what you're going to have to do.
Thank you for watching this week's episode. Next week, Angelina transforms her validated evidence into professional prose using the pyramid principle, leading with clear claims, weaving data seamlessly via the 3-step integration method, and drafting her dossier's complication section to prove the gap with urgency. Her research engine now powers the first sprint towards a publication-ready dossier with Apex Research Collective.